I'm trying again. So today we are talking air and earth as elements of personality, because I haven't shared these with you yet. I think it was last week I shared fire and water. Might have even been the week before. I'm a little bit behind. So I wanted to share with you guys the elements as I see them, because it's a really quick and easy way of kind of taking a snapshot overview of a person's personality, so you can see how they work, kind of their most dominant traits, right? So it helps you to see perhaps the parts of yourself that you need to kind of work on, the parts of yourself that are dominant, and also other people. So it's definitely worth, learning about this. It doesn't always pertain to astrological charts, mainly because most people look at their sun signs and that doesn't really tell you a hell of a lot, right? It'll tell you maybe who you're becoming and what your soul self is, but it doesn't really explain your emotions and how you present yourself to the world and how you project onto the world. Some of astrology will tell you that, but your sun sign won't. So don't look at it and say, well, I'm Aries, so I'm obviously fire, because it doesn't work that way, right? You just listen to how I describe the elements, and feel free to check out the fire and water live stream that I did. And you'll be able to see pretty easily who you are and who is in your inner circle, who you're friends with, who you're in relationship with, who your family are. I find it a really helpful tool. So, getting on to air and earth. Now, these are obviously the opposite ends of the spectrum, and it's probably good that we place them in this way. Okay, so air people tend to be the communicators, right? They tend to be the ones who love to talk. They could chat for hours about something they're interested in, or if they are super air, they might just chat for hours about anything. It might just literally be anything and everything that they have experienced that day, or in their life. If they're on a date, it might just be anything. They just love communication. They love speaking. They love music. They're very creative, right? They love ideas. The trouble is with being an air person, a person who is really air can have loads of ideas, and they really, really struggle to manifest in the 3D, right? So I talked about fire before, and fire people are the manifestors of the 3D. They are the ones that take action. They're the ones that are really focused, and they go and do it anyway. Well, air is not focused at all. Air can be really erratic. And as we know, like the wind, it's prone to change, right? It's prone to being blown about. Your ideas can get blown about. You can have no idea how to actually ground them, because you need some earth if you're prominently air. So an air person will really struggle to kind of catch an idea and keep it until it's fully formed. They kind of catch the idea, and then it's just the idea, and they'll talk about the idea like they're really going to do it, and then they don't do it. That's air, right? Air is very similar to water in some ways. Water people can also do this a little bit. They're so go with the flow. They can come off their path. They literally just flow downstream. But air people are the ones who are more likely to be coming up with loads of ideas, really good ideas potentially, right? They get ideas for everybody. It isn't just themselves. They're always sharing their ideas. But unfortunately, they tend to lose momentum, and they're terrible procrastinators, right? Mainly just because their head just decides there's something else for them to do. So ego loves procrastination. And for those people, you really need to learn to ground, right? You need to learn to hone some fire, right? Although there are some people who are predominantly fire and air, and they can be a little bit more explosive, right? Because obviously oxygen and a flame, you can imagine. So fire air people need to really watch their potential to blow up at just about anything that triggers them, and they blow up really quickly, okay? So air is kind of like a catalyst. Air is a person who, if you have someone in your tribe who's air, or especially someone at work, they will bring the ideas to the table. They're not the ones that are going to know how to map it out. They don't know how to plan. They're rubbish at planning. they don't know how to really manifest. Like lots of hippies in the world are these people. Not that there's anything wrong with being a hippie, okay? If anyone knows about my hippie thing, there's nothing wrong with being a hippie. But these are kind of the floaty hippie people that really need some help by sort of bringing some fire people and earth people into their world so they can really, really learn about how they are able to move forward in life, because they can't really see the little details. They're not really good at the details. They are the dreamers. They see the big picture. They have the big vision. They don't like the details. They don't like having to, look at their finances. They don't want to do that. They don't like having to work out exactly how to do things. They're similar to fire in that way, that they would rather just cut corners, but a fire person would just probably do it and cut corners, whereas an air person probably will think about doing it and they just won't even try, right? So air needs more earth and grounding and fire to get things done, right? However, pluses on air is that air has the ability to channel. And so if you have done your inner work and you were really clear and you know yourself and you've worked on yourself, right, you are a direct channel of information, right? Now, there are some air people who haven't done their work, and I've witnessed this firsthand, where they channel information in and it just comes straight out. It's in and out. And what happens here is these people are not embodying. It doesn't go all the way down to the heart and the gut and is really felt and acknowledged by the person. Because channeled information, right, even if I'm channeling something, it comes in for you guys, but it also comes in for me, right? And so you have to learn to take it really into the body and then move forward with it, right? Air people can be so sketchy in their communication that it's very, very hard for other people to understand what they're saying. And so if you are a person who does channel information, who gets loads of ideas and maybe things for other people, maybe you want to go into coaching, right? You have to learn how to embody this stuff so that when you speak, it comes out with clarity and it hits people in the heart. It doesn't just hit people, in their heads and they don't know what you're talking about. An air person can literally talk and it just goes over people's heads because they're so up in the clouds, right? Imagine some people, I'm sure there's some people probably watching who've smoked a big spliff and now they're talking about the universe and you haven't and you don't know what they're talking about. That's kind of an air thing, right? They maybe don't have to do that. They don't have to touch anything. They just talk up there and they can just be away with the fairies, right? That's where that little saying comes from. That's talking about an air person for sure, right? But air has this amazing ability to communicate, and air can be really good speakers. Air are really good at getting up on stage and speaking, and they need to learn to really pull that down and honor what's coming through. And you can only really honor what's coming through, and you can only really speak the truth if you've cleared yourself and you're really heart connected, right? Connected to body, have done your inner child work, are speaking from the heart and speaking from the soul. I know some air people who are great speakers, but they aren't particularly authentic, right? I talked about this last week. There are some people out there who are doing work in the world where they claim that they are there helping people, but actually it's not really about the people, it's really about them, right? Hello, Alison. Hello, Mike. Hello, Leigh. Thank you all for joining. Yes, all is great with me at the moment. My life is very different and I'm way much more in my power now, honey. So thank you for asking. So this is why I want to share all this information with you, because I believe that there are many of you out there who are still seeking their path and still seeking who they are and trying to understand themselves. And so the elements really help you just to get a snapshot of maybe who you're showing up as, right? And how you can better benefit yourself. Air people can really struggle to make deeper connections because they are in a world all of their own. As I said, they're the dreamers of the world, and we need the dreamers of the world, right? We need you air people. I'm quite air, right? We need those dreamers. We need those people who can collect information and share it. We need those people to basically bring our horizon like to widen it, to broaden it, to give us a bigger view, right, of where we're going. Oh, sorry, someone's messaging me. Yeah, we need that. But we don't need you to get stuck in your own little fantasy. Air have a terrible thing of fantasizing about what their life is going to be like, but without any action taking and without any grounding, they just stay in the fantasy. And there's this thing sometimes with air, it's actually because they're scared of what they could manifest. They're scared of becoming everything that they desire. They're scared of achieving everything that they desire. And so what they do is they keep themselves within their confines of the dream, because the dream is so much nicer than the work that they're going to have to do. Because unfortunately, right, as earth and fire people know, and maybe water a little bit, right? But air and fire, they're willing to do the work. Earth is willing to plod. It will do whatever. It'll just keep plodding. Fire doesn't want to plod. It just wants to shoot straight for the goal. It's going there. Air don't like that. They don't like it. They don't like the work. But honey, if you are air, you have to do the work, because if you don't, then you'll just dream, and all your dreams that you dream about will still be dreams when you're 60 and you're 70 and you're 80. And then the end of life will come and you'll be wondering what the hell happened. And it's literally just because you've been so up here that you haven't been in the body. You see with so many people who are into spirituality, there's this disconnect from body, where they kind of maybe feel like they don't belong. They want to go back home, right? They don't feel super connected to the 3D world. They're not really connected to other people. And so they kind of have escaped from their body. I was like this for quite a long time. I kind of felt like I was up here, especially when I was on raw food. I was really light. Not that I couldn't speak to people, but I just couldn't connect with them. Definitely not in the way that I do now. I couldn't do this grounded, authentic, deep work that I'm doing if I hadn't learned how to embody myself more, to let my power back in, right? So let me know if any of this makes sense to you. Are any of you air? Please share with me, right? And so let's get on to earth, right? That's just little bits about air. Earth people are almost the opposite, right? They are the people who, they don't really dream, right? As in, they don't really have big, highfalutin ideas about what they want from life. They're quite happy, really, as long as they have a good job and they have enough money and they have a nice house and they like where they live and their partner is nice and they get on okay, then they're quite happy. They're not seeking for very much. They're not like, air will keep dreaming about a life that it wants to create, and fire will decide it is going to create that life. And water is, like I said, similar to air. It has